Hello, my name is Katarina from Garden Design Tools. Today in this video I'm going to talk about why is it important to have the architectural element, in this case as a garden designer, as a landscape architect, you work a lot with in a residential setting or even in a commercial setting, but always the architectural element has a big influence in your design. In this case I'm just going to show you how what elements you need to have this to actually being able to implement. So this is the perfect situation, so where there is an actual architect AutoCAD file from the architect. Okay, so this is the first floor. Okay, so this is the floor, the code of the land that we're working on. Okay, so but as you can see, you have all this information about this specific architectural element, about this specific house, and this is all useful to implement. Okay, so I know as a garden designer you want to concentrate on the garden, of course. I'm just trying to show you why is it important to have in a residential setting the house as a context, as a reference for the client, and it's going to improve a lot your renderings. Okay, so this can all be imported to SketchUp. I'm not working in CAD, and the only thing that I work in CAD is just to make sure all the information is here and always to cross-check measurements with SketchUp. Okay, this is the only thing I do. Okay, so in here it's already the file, and it is to scale. Just make sure it's always to scale when you import it before you start doing any work. Okay, because the pain, and yes, sorry my my language, but to try to, once everything is put together, to try to put it to scale, it's a bit more painful. Okay, so as you can see, this is helpful as well for you as a designer, to see where is the living room, where is the different spaces. Okay, you might know already by talking to the client, but anyway, it's a very interesting thing to just actually see the size of the windows and all these things. Okay, so it's just a question of beginning to trace, and after just push and pull, having in consideration all the measurements, everything in the CAD file. Okay, so this is the end work inside SketchUp. Okay, so this is some of the elements of the design already, but it's mainly structure, layout, architecture that you're going to be implemented in here. Okay, so it's not pretty. All the lines are that you see now, it's not important because in Lumion you don't see them, and yeah, and all the measurements are correct. Okay, so that's really important, just to make sure, it's actually with this one, just to make sure that you always have the correct measurements. Okay, in your SketchUp file. Okay, and this is important later on as well for all the layout, material quantities, and all these things. Okay, so this is what you do in SketchUp. And in this case, as you can see as well, you have this terrace here, you have this outdoor kitchen really embedded in the house. Okay, so as you can see, there wasn't a way of doing this project, of doing these images without actually showing the house, because of it's so close together. Okay, that it will be almost impossible to show the real effect of the garden without showing the house. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you, and I'm going to put some still images in the end just to show you. So when you actually putting everything together in SketchUp, I will say, because the design is probably already in some rough sketches but done by hand, or maybe you have it in your head, maybe you just gonna work it out after in SketchUp, but I would say that probably 70 to 75% of your time is just actually putting all the existing elements or all the architectural elements in the model. Okay, so have that in consideration. Okay, the rest of the design elements it's probably done it in a short period of time, but all the architecture, the house, the windows, etc., it's going to take you a bit of time. Okay, and if it's a classic building, for example, it's crazy. I wouldn't advise. This is a very rectangular and clean line, so it's pretty easy. If it's very a classic building, I wouldn't advise to lose a lot of time in it. Maybe just have the proportions, the windows, etc. Figure it out, and some material outside that will look similar to the existing or something like this, if it's brick or a stone. But I won't lose a lot of time. I'm actually drawing. If it's very organic shapes and stuff, just put something that's close related, and proportions, windows, placement, all this, okay? In the majority of the times, if you don't have the CAD files, you might need a survey. It's really important for the land, of course, but for the exact building, you might need to work with photographs and estimates and things like this. Okay, so you have the exact measurements of the land. But if for the actual building, to put it in 3D, you might need to work with photographs only. Okay, and that's okay, that's fine. Okay, it's just easier if you have all the CAD files from an architect. Okay, but that's only possible maybe with more modern, more contemporary buildings. So I'm gonna put some still images, okay, in the end, but just so you have the full effect of what appears after in SketchUp, okay, in Lumion, sorry. So that's a big difference, okay? That's something that, and you can change here. But it was already in georeference. Okay, so as you can see, all the lines, you don't see them, okay? Plus, I already add materials, etc., some plant materials. So all the other work is inside Lumion. But to have this full visual impact when you're presenting the things to your client, the house is essential, okay? Especially in this case. You couldn't do this without a house in place, okay? And to work it out after, for him to take it out some circulation issues that might happen, okay? It's really important to have all these elements in place, okay? So don't forget, we have our courses online. So you have SketchUp, okay? In SketchUp you learn, like I was showing you now, how to import from CAD or just tracing your own plans from an image, for example. So we have SketchUp Basics for Garden Designers, and we have Ranging Your Client's Dream Garden, that's from SketchUp to Lumion, okay? So, and we teach all this. In the summer, this summer, we're gonna have a specific one for animation only inside Lumion. We already talk about animation in the course, but if you want to really go more in depth and do other things inside Lumion, okay? See you guys in the next video.